Hi, I'm Siobhan. I am just over 6 years into my marketing career. I've worked across small business for huge global businesses and for a tech startup. And right now I'm on a contract role to help out a recruitment agency shape their brand and candidate attraction. I'm a little bit of a marketing generalist. Most of my roles have been quite general, but they've always kind of had a content and thought leadership flavor to them. I have a formal qualification in marketing, but it took me a couple of years out to solidly land a pure marketing role, which was just enough time for everything I did and learned at uni to be completely obsolete. I was handed this really amazing opportunity about 6 years ago to really quickly step out of a recruitment role in a recruitment business. And I quickly stepped up to lead the sales and marketing function for this brand new arm of the business offering completely different service. And that kind of sprint of that role really saw me tackle everything from brand strategy to managing a website relaunch to setting and implementing the entire marketing strategy. I was on the ground doing business development. I was doing some partnership marketing. So it was a really full on, but definitely a huge and steep learning curve for me within marketing. And so when I looked for my next role, down here in Melbourne, there's obviously a lot of tech, a lot of startups, and the whole world of SaaS, which I thought was incredibly interesting. And so that role was really diverse. It was for a global SaaS brand. And I spent time working between departments there. So I spent a lot of time working closely with clients on some of their internal comms as we're starting out programs there. I spent time working really closely with sales and revenue ops to get my head around SaaS and recurring revenue, which is an enormous learning curve in and of its own. And then I spent time with the marketing operations team to learn a little bit more about attribution, how lead scoring works, how segmentation works, and how deep into marketing personalization you can get. And then before I left, I jumped in with the international marketing team and really focused on localizing campaigns. So it was a really great learning ground to practice my marketing craft and absorb from a lot of really great and really talented people in there. And so when I left there, I was looking for kind of a step up and a way to flex my creative muscles under less of a global sort of organization. So I moved into a tech startup, which was an incredibly exciting world. If you have a chance to jump onto a startup, I'd highly recommend it. I was their first in-house marketer. And so this was all about sort of implementing some of those things that I'd learned about, some of the fundamentals of building out a marketing function. So creating those really scalable systems and models and putting in processes that could establish growth for the future. So I've really stepped up in terms of energy, creativity, and applying the learnings that I'd had without kind of a safety net behind me. So I've moved on from that one. At the moment, I'm doing some contract work, as I said, for a recruitment agency. It's sort of like coming full circle. It's not where I'll stay, given that I'm completely addicted to SaaS and completely addicted to tech in general. But it's really nice to put into practice that background and always come back and do some of the things I wish I'd done 6 years ago with a little bit more knowledge behind me and still really stay close to leadership and see my impact on the business in a short period of time. So the absolute best advice I have ever received is to control your narrative, which probably sounds really airy-fairy, but I'll explain. Early on, I really felt like I was at the mercy of someone else to decide what my career looked like and what I could work on. And I didn't really feel like I had a handle on guiding my own career. And so this person had said to me, you're in control of your narrative. And so what it gave me was sort of the confidence to reach a bit further than the projects I'd been given. So apart from delivering on outcomes, I started to approach things with the focus of how it could get me to where I wanted to go. So if there's an opportunity to step up and lead parts of the project, I can take that on and learn from others, how good leadership works and how management of others works. If it's collaboration with another department, it's an opportunity to learn from them, see things from their perspective and understand their craft and how it fits into the project that I'm working on. And then finally, having looked at a project in that manner, how can I communicate that to show that I've taken on things that have led me to where I would want to go? So controlling the narrative has formed a big piece of what I've kept in my mind over the last couple of years as I've taken on different projects within my roles. In terms of more direct sort of marketing related advice that I've been given, the best I've ever heard is to not be afraid to fail. And I know that gets said a lot and it can sound really flippant, but as someone who's really driven to deliver, it burns pretty deep when a campaign doesn't go exactly how you thought it would go. And so a really fundamental part of marketing is test and learn what works and what doesn't in order to scale. So being willing to accept that not everything turns out the way you thought it would, and not taking that to heart, but being able to learn from it, grow and iterate on things that do work has been really good advice. When I was starting out, I wish I knew how to ask for what I wanted. And I don't mean in terms of asking for more money or a promotion, which are all fine things to know how to ask for, but not what I mean. I mean, in terms of asking people for their stories and for their advice. So if you have an idea of where you want to go and what you want to do, or even if you don't and you have no idea and you just think something's really interesting, put it out into the world and find people that will help you get there. There's a lot of people out there that are willing to share their stories and advice with you. Related more directly to marketing, it's that you don't have to be an expert in everything. I think I've spent a lot of time trying to be great at all things, but most marketers I've spoken to gravitate towards a stack that they really love and enjoy. And it's not to say that you can avoid all the terrible parts of marketing. If you hate data, you still have to have some sort of handle on how to capture leads or whatever else. But it's not about avoiding the unpleasant. It's about picking a stack, I guess, of expertise that plays to your strengths. That's much more useful to a business and it will make you happier than trying to be half good at a lot of different things. The biggest mistake I've ever made is something that I continue to make, which is to say yes to too much. I'm getting better at it, but I do say yes to a lot of things and don't always set great boundaries around my time. And so ultimately this led a few years ago to a pretty significant burnout event that took me months to recover from. But I'm the kind of person that wants to learn and absorb everything. And it was a great lesson to learn that you don't have to be going at 120% all the time. Just 100% is okay. And some days it's not even 100%. And the other big mistake I've made is letting someone else control the narrative about who I am and what I'm capable of. I've spent too long in roles feeling like I was a little bit underestimated and pigeonholed, and it can really crush your confidence and creativity. So coming back to controlling your own narrative and finding interesting elements within projects has been something that I wish I knew a lot earlier on. Wild curiosity. And realizing that not everything, like everything's been done before. So in marketing, it's usually true that someone's done what you want to do in some sense before. So the mechanics of a campaign and how you want it to work probably exist out there. So I contribute it to being curious about focusing on the customer or the end user and what they really want. And the rest of it, you just Google it and figure out and find people who are smarter than you to know how to actually implement that. But I think the reason that I've come as far as I am and have been useful to businesses is that I do like to focus on the end user or the customer.